Hey everyone, my name is Gamer Corey, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be talking about Patch 2 that was actually released earlier today. Now, it is pretty late when I am recording this, and it actually came out, and I was checking for it to see when it was coming out. I had a feeling that was either going to be coming out today, Thursday, or possibly on Friday, and it actually came out late on Wednesday. Now, this patch version is also known as 1.8.3.0, so it is now available. Now, there is a ton of things to actually go over in today's episode. I'm not necessarily going to go over each and every single little update that has been made to the game and to the flight simulator, but I do want to go over some of the things that I feel really have been missed, and obviously take a look at some of the primary things that have been included and updated and patched in this specific update. The other thing that I want you guys to know is that this thing is over 15 gigabytes of downloaded space, and it did take a little bit of time even for me to download. Hopefully you don't run into as many issues as I did, or it doesn't take you guys quite as long as it did for me. Now, this took me about a half an hour to download and install. You have to actually update it, at least through the Microsoft App Store. That's how I purchased it, was through Microsoft themselves. And then, of course, then you had to download it, and then you actually had to go into the game, and then it asked you to update it, and that's when it presented that it was actually 15 gigabytes. So let's go ahead and kind of break down everything that is in here, but if there's things that are not included, like some of the things I'm going to be talking about later in this episode, then make sure that you guys head on over to the link that's going to be down in the description below, and letting Microsoft know that these are things that you want to get taken care of and fixed as soon as possible. So the primary focus of this patch is to address many of the in-sim issues reported by the community. They are consistently and constantly looking at the issues and feedback that they have received to help plan for any future patch work. So definitely keep that in mind, like I was mentioning earlier. So I'm just going to go over the main things that they touched on. We got performance improvements, ATC improvements, UI, aerodynamics, aircraft, and this is going to be cockpits, visual and animations, the general aviation systems, general aviation avionics. We also have airliner system, airliner avionics, miscellaneous weather services, marketplace issues, content manager, localization, accessibility, cameras, bush trips, and the world itself. So like I said, those are the main categories, and then there's actually things inside of each of those that we're not necessarily going to go over all of it, but the performance is probably what a majority of people are actually looking for. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of those individually. So they have optimized the cockpit screen display when screens are not displayed on screen. That's exactly what it says, word for word. New option available to control cockpit screen update frequency. There's tweaked CPU thread priorities to reduce interruption of frame critical threads. There's optimized loading systems to reduce overall loading times. Optimize heavy airport scenes impact on CPU. Reduce the amount of GPU overdraw to improve GPU performance. Memory optimizations to reduce software memory footprint and improve performance on memory limited computers. And then overall performance optimizations. Obviously, that's pretty generic, that last one, overall performance optimizations. Now, I hopped in the specific episode that you guys are kind of currently watching at Anchorage, and you can see that only with Flight Simulator running, currently I was using, and I have a 1080 Ti gaming card that has 8 gigabytes of RAM, and I was using 95% of it for this specific airport. So I don't feel that maybe the improved overall performance optimizations are truly in effect, but that's just me personally. Obviously, with the brand new 30 editions of the gaming cards or the graphics cards that will be coming out and have been slightly released, and then a couple more that will be released later. So the 3070, the 3080, and the 3090 will hopefully drastically improve some of these issues, but not everybody's going to want to spend money on getting a brand new graphics card specifically for this game. So ATC, I'm really not going to cover that. I do really want to talk about like some of the general aviation systems and some of the general avionics that have been included in this most recent update. So the Cessna 208B Grand Caravan EX propeller sound has been improved, where the RPM is changing. So again, these are not things that I've currently experienced. I haven't tested everything that's in here. Obviously, you can see that I'm flying the Longitude, which is the next thing that we're going to be talking about. So the autopilot altitude, speed, and management improvements. Again, I didn't really notice a whole lot when I turned on the autopilot when I first took off. So I guess I didn't really notice anything there. The auto throttle is now inhibited during takeoff until you hit 400 feet. I turned it on after 400 feet, so I've always done it after 400 feet. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. The TBM 930, the yaw damper is now automatically turned on when the AP is enabled. The Beech King, Beechcraft King Air 350i, the windshield de-icing is now working. The A5, the Icon A5, incorrect heading indicator notification is now correctly triggered. We have the Shock Ultra. The flaps now operate mechanically instead of electronically. Then trim management improvements. The Cessna Citation CJ4 reverse thrusters have been removed. The Cub Crafter X Cub, the IAS AP or the autopilot mode is now working properly. And then the TBM 930 and Cessna 208, the engine shutdown duration has been increased. Now, as far as the general aviation avionics, we have the Longitude. Several knobs of the G5000 are now working. The Beechcraft Baron G58, the Bonanza G36, the Cessna 172 Skyhawk G1000, the Diamond DA40 have fixed a missing altimeter knob. The King Air 350i, the menu key is now working properly. The Cessna 152, 152 Aerobat as avionics state have been fixed with honeycomb devices battery switch. I did fly the 170, or I haven't done the 152, but I did do the 172 Skyhawk G1000, so I guess I have never noticed that. And I do have honeycomb. We have the GNS 530 flight plan. Display alignment has now been fixed with the German 530. The G1000 improvements, there's been a lot of fixes to that. I'm not going to go over each of them individually, but a lot of things have been fixed. And if you actually go down to the airliner systems and the airliner avionics, a ton of things have been fixed in all three of the airliners. But specifically, I would have to say that the 747-8 and the 787-10 have definitely received a lot of love during this update, and especially the avionics in the Airbus A320neo has gotten a lot of things working as well. So however, there's not a lot of attention to fuel consumption in this update, which makes me kind of wonder what's going to happen with all of that. I know that a couple people have released some changes to fuel consumption with the Cessna Citation CJ4, but I'm still waiting for the Longitude. It's supposed to go 3,500 nautical miles, and it pretty much, at most, at least the furthest I've really been able to get to go, is like 1,200 nautical miles, which is pretty bad, and that's even on very fuel conservative things. And I know that in the game it can only hold about 840 gallons of fuel, but in real life it's supposed to hold 2,200 gallons of fuel. So you kind of take that in difference and you can actually get up to your 3,500 nautical miles. So I don't know if it's, but I feel like the fuel burn is still very incorrect, if that makes sense, in a lot of the aircraft, to be completely honest. But again, the link for everything that's going to be revolving around this specific update in this patch will be down below. If you guys want to check all of it out, just click on that link. It's going to take you over to the flightsimulator.com webpage that you guys can actually check everything out. I definitely recommend that you do it, especially if there's something very specific that you're looking for. And if you're like me and the fuel fix hasn't been fixed yet, then make sure that you guys are leaving the feedback in their community area so that they can address it in one of their future patch updates. But that is everything that I have for you guys in today's episode. If you guys did enjoy it in any way or found it helpful in any way, then make sure that you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. It would help me out a lot and is greatly appreciated. A like definitely goes a long way. It tells me that you guys like these videos, tells me that you want me to continue making these types of videos, and honestly, it just really helps me out a lot. So go ahead and spend that 2 seconds and like and subscribe down below. But until next time, YouTube, you guys keep doing what you're doing because you're already doing it, and you guys stay gaming.